Okay. Okay. All right. I meant to do that. Okay. I'm Willie Bragg. For some reason, I was muted. I didn't mean to be. I am so sorry, folks. Please forgive me. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I normally don't live stream on Saturday night, but a couple of reasons I'm live streaming on Saturday night is that I am off this evening, and I'm off this evening. And do you like my background? Hold on a second. You like it? You like my background? I got Che Guevara today, so um, I have a reason for having Che Guevara in my background. So there you go. Oh, all right. There we go. Yeah, reason I had Che Guevara in the background is because of what happened. We all know what happened last night in Venezuela. And what happened last night in Venezuela is that President Nicholas Maduro was arrested by the U.S. government, and the fact that the U.S. government arrested Nicholas Maduro, I mean, you have to ask yourself, what the hell is all that about? So, but before we get started, let's go ahead with the shout outs. Kamashwari Kate, how are you doing today? What day is this? Saturday. Reason why I am live streaming on Saturday is that I usually work on Saturday nights now these days. However, I was supposed to take my parents to the airport because they were supposed to go back to Puerto Rico. But what happened is this Venezuela last night, meaning that all flights to the Caribbean are temporarily suspended, meaning that they're here for a few more days. Go figure. So, um, so that's what that's about. And so, I'm here. I figure I'll go ahead and live stream. Everybody else is live streaming. Why shouldn't I? So, that explains that. And then we have Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. It's great seeing you here. I hope everything is well. And then we have Jason Quiddley. How are you doing today, Jason? And great seeing you here. And let's party down, Willie. See, Saturday night. Woohoo! I saw Kevin posted a song online today. He's really pissed. Yeah, I am not happy with what happened today in Venezuela. So, um, see, and I haven't seen you in a while here. Great Patine 739. We keep losing. We are so unpopular. Hi, Willie, and how are you doing today? Um, here's the thing. You know, Venezuela is a sovereign country. They had an election. The election was legitimate. Nicholas Maduro won. Just because the United States said he didn't win doesn't mean that the election was fraudulent. We've seen fraudulent elections and campaigns. 2000 in Florida, that was fraudulent. The primaries twice against Bernie Sanders, that was fraudulent. Um, there are things. The electoral college system is a sham here in this country, and the fact that we have the biggest electoral fraud you can imagine in the United States is the fact that the third parties are kept out of the system, something that nobody complains about. But people will act like a poor billionaire in this country is a victim in 2020. If you're a billionaire, you're not a victim. So that's what it comes down to. David White, if you're on the right saying that the Democrats are the biggest idiots, you're wrong. But if you're on the left saying the Democrats are the biggest idiots, then you're correct. So it depends on your perspective of what you mean. If you're criticizing them from the left, I'm with you. If you're criticizing them from the right, I don't want to hear it. Because that's where I stand on that. Let's see here. Shake and Bacon, how are you doing today? Definition of fraudulent elections, according to the U.S. government, is any elections that doesn't work out on how they like it. Pretty much. Pretty much. There was a lot of sour grapes in Brazil over Bolsonaro, and they had their little January 6th moments. And there was justice done finally to Bolsonaro. He can't run for office. I believe he was. I think he was sentenced 27 years of not able to run for office or something. Something along those lines, and I think he's done some prison time too, as he should, as it should be the case. So anyhow, be as it may, we'll get started with the story here. This is from the Chalson. It's a Korean paper, so we'll start with that. And I keep on hitting that button. See, give me a second here. We'll start on the Chalson. U.S. arrests Maduro's spouse with no casualties. And that's basically from a Korean paper, and from Kim Myung Il. My apologies for butcherizing the name. So, the U.S. has arrested Venezuelan President Nicholas Maduro and his spouse through military operations with no U.S. casualties reported during the process. We all know that by now. On the 3rd, the New York Times, citing a government official, stated there were no American casualties in this operations. However, the officials did not comment on Venezuelan casualties. Y'all remember Panama, 1989? Earlier, the Venezuelan government has declared the state of emergency, announcing in the early hours of the day the U.S. attack has begun. The U.S. President Donald Trump later revealed via social media the U.S. military has successfully completed a large-scale strike on Venezuela and arrested Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his spouse, transferring them outside of Venezuela. This marks for the first time in 36 years a period spanning back to the 1990 Panama invasion, when Manuel Noriega was captured by U.S. forces on his nation's soil and extradited, that a sitting president has been arrested on his own territory by U.S. forces. The absence of U.S. casualties during the arrest of a sitting president on his nation's soil underscores the operation's meticulous planning, all success. In a brief phone interview with the New York Times, President Trump self-evaluated operations, stating it was a very excellent operation. Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, speaking through state-run media, said that they do not know whether Maduro and his spouse are alive, adding the U.S. government must present evidence regarding their survival status. Rodriguez also claimed that the public officials, military personnel, and civilians across the country lost their lives due to U.S. attack. President Trump reportedly received the national security briefing on the Venezuela attack the previous evening. He is scheduled to hold a press conference at 11 a.m. on the 3rd, 1 a.m. on the 4th Korean time, at a Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida, where his private residence is located, to disclose details of the operation. CNN, citing unnamed sources, reported that the U.S. Senate Armed Service Committee was not notified in advance of the possible military actions in Venezuela. Senator Brian Schatz, Democrat of Hawaii, member of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee, stated on Twitter, I will not mention that one-letter name. I will dead name the fuck out of Twitter. It's going to be forever Twitter. On that same day, there are no significant national interests in Venezuela. that justify war, adding, we should have learned lessons that we must not step into another foolish adventure. The Trump administration has pressured the Maduro regime through blockades of Venezuelan waters and precision strikes while demanding that Maduro step down voluntarily. So there is that. So you see what happened. So what I've heard now is that he's in Guantanamo Bay, is what I've heard. The last I've heard. But anyway, I'll play some clips here of some people I listened to and their reaction. So I was listening to The Amazing Atheist earlier today. So this is what he had to say on the subject. So let me find this. Yeah, here it is. Okay.
3 days later, we're at war with Venezuela. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nichols Madruro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. What kind of weird dystopian crack-addled shit is this? Well, I ain't celebrating the capture of Maduro. It's pretty goddamn clear that the objective there is to install a friendly to the United States government in their country that will allow us unfettered access to the oil fields while the people of that country languish in poverty and misery and don't see any money from the resource that's below their fucking feet. There's always going to be some people, especially initially, who think, wow, maybe this is good. It's like when we went in Iraq and toppled Saddam Hussein, they showed footage of people celebrating and tearing down his statue and beating it with shoes because they didn't like him, but they soon realized an important lesson. We are not much better, if at all. We are not here to liberate you. That was just a line of bullshit we used to get at your resources.
Case in point, if you think about it, I mean, he brought up a good point about Iraq. Now, I'm no fan of Saddam Hussein when he was in power, but when Saddam Hussein was in power, you compare Iraq today to then. All the people who are complaining about how close Iran and Iraq are with each other today, well, thanks to George W. Bush, that's what happened. And what was Iraq like under Saddam Hussein? Under Saddam Hussein, the treatment of women in Iraq was on par with the West. They were not required to wear burqas and head coverings, and they were, yes, I said, on par with the West. I mean, they had equality under the laws. Christians in Iraq were treated well under Saddam Hussein. In fact, the Ba'ath parties made allowances, and the deputy leader, the second in command under Saddam Hussein, Tariq Aziz, was a Byzantine Christian, for example. So the thing about it is that if you compare well, if you look at Muammar Gaddafi, we were all conditioned to believe he was this really bad guy and I'm not going to say he was a saint, but let me tell you, when Gaddafi was in power, what happened? They had the highest standard of living of all the countries in Africa. Gaddafi had the highest standard of living for his people. They had a universal basic income. They had universal health care. They had free college education for the people. They had free housing, free electricity, free water because of the oil-rich country. And Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton decided to go and destroy the country. I hate George W. Bush more than any president you can ever imagine. Well, I thought I did until last night. But anyway, what I was going to say is that George W. Bush dropped sanctions on Libya. Even George W. Bush had the wisdom to drop sanctions on Libya in, I believe it was in 2005. And what did Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama do? They acted like George W. Bush on his worst day over Libya, and they toppled the government. And what was the phrase she used? We came, we came and he died, or something along those lines. And you saw him in his final moment. You know, he had his asshole stabbed and everything. And he warned the West that if you get rid of me, something worse is going to take over. And Libya became a slave state. Libya returned to being a slave state. Fucking neocons, that's what they do. Let's back it up to Afghanistan. I mean, Afghanistan, we could have prevented 9/11, but Ronald Reagan backed the right-wing Hashidin rebels. Why? Because those big old bad Soviets back then, you know. And if you look at a college campus when it was under Soviet influence, it looked like a college campus during that time in the West. And then all of a sudden, the Taliban taking over in 1996, the rest of the story. So neocons, what they do is they make the world worse. They just make the world worse. So I will not recognize the lady that's going to likely be the next leader of Venezuela, Maria Corina Machado, I believe is her name, a woman who admires Margaret Thatcher. She can fuck off. She can fuck herself, honestly. So, well, I think it's important for him to, whatever we may think of Bernie, let's go hear what he has to say about this whole situation. I will say that much. So, yeah, Kate, you're absolutely right. It's all about destabilizing. So let's go ahead and listen to what Bernie has to say about it. Okay, take it away.
Very much for joining me. Donald Trump has once again shown his contempt for the Constitution and the rule of law. Let's be clear. The President of the United States does not have the right to unilaterally take this country into war, even against a corrupt and brutal dictator like Maduro. The United States does not have the right, as Trump stated this morning, to run Venezuela. Congress must immediately pass a war powers resolution to end this illegal military operation and reassert its constitutional responsibilities. Trump's attack on Venezuela will not make the United States and the world safer. Quite the contrary. This brazen violation of international law gives a green light to any country on earth that may wish to attack another nation to seize their resources or change their governments. This is the horrific logic of force that Putin used to justify his brutal attack on Ukraine. Trump and his administration have made it clear that they want to revive the Monroe Doctrine, a belief that claims that the United States has the right to dominate the affairs of the hemisphere. They have spoken openly about controlling Venezuela's oil reserves, the largest in the world. Let's make no mistake about it. This is rank imperialism. It recalls the darkest chapters of U.S. interventions in Latin America, which have left a terrible legacy. It will and should be condemned by the democratic world. Trump campaigned for president on an America First platform. He claimed to be the peace candidate. Well, at a time when 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, when our healthcare system is collapsing, when people throughout this country cannot afford housing, and when artificial intelligence threatens millions of jobs, it is time for the president to focus on the crises facing this country and end the military adventurism abroad. Trump is failing in his job to run the United States of America. He should not be trying to run Venezuela. Thank you very much.
Okay, I agree. He should not be trying to run Venezuela. Is Venezuela a dictatorship? I would say he was elected. They have multiple parties. And if you have multiple parties, you're not a dictatorship. Are there policies? Is it my type of socialism? Yeah, that's to be debated. But was he elected by the people? He was elected by the people. And who the hell is the United States government to sit there and dictate how they should run things? So I disagree with Bernie Sanders in the sense that Nicholas Maduro is a dictator. I don't think he's a dictator. I would say Donald Trump has dictatorial impulses. If you want to talk about dictatorships, you want to talk about authoritarianism, and you want to arrest somebody, there's a gentleman in the Middle East by the name of Benjamin that that he I think that he needs to go to the Hague. I would say that would be a good start right there. But as far as arresting Maduro is ridiculous. I mean, who the hell is the United States government to be doing this? I mean, to me, it's a war crime. It's just as much of a war crime as when in 2020, when we drone striked and unalived General Qasem Soleimani back then, and how stupid it is, Soleimani has to say Iran has the same enemies as the United States. Nobody likes ISIS. United States and Iran and Syria under Assad and Russia, all of them have the same enemies, and that was ISIS. Nobody likes ISIS. And you want to sit there and you want to call Maduro a dictator. The man that's headed of Syria right now. That's not a dictator. I mean, I'm talking about a fucking Al Qaeda terrorist. I mean, of course, the United States is on record supporting 7 out of 10 dictatorships around the world. 70% of the dictatorships that exist around the world has been supported by the United States. So, I'll go ahead and share some. That's what I'll do. I'll share some tweets that I read online today, and I'll I'll conclude. Okay, we'll go on Twitter. Okay, Keaton Weiss from Due Dissidence was talking about it himself. He's the co-host. We all know Keaton. The World Economic the World Economic Forum wins again. I'm a broken record at this point, but It warrants repeating once more, says Keaton Weiss. MAGA was the biggest scam in modern political history. And of course, it's referring to the new the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. We're ready to take over the government in Venezuela, from the Bloomberg News, so and referring to this person here. Yeah, so I do not recognize her. She's, and I just think it's ridiculous that people just, what people are doing, that whole idea of declaring somebody president like Trump did initially years ago with one guy, Guaido. Tired peasant on Twitter says, solidarity goes out to the people of Venezuela. We stand with you. Okay. Anna Kasparian. Yes, Anna Kasparian. Believe it or not, Anna Kasparian. She says it's 2003 all over again, but even dumber. Look, I don't like Anna Kasparian, but she's not wrong. All right. Let's see. Kim Iverson. If we can just capture presidents in the Middle East, if we can capture a president in the middle of the night, can some country please go and get Netanyahu and cart his ass off to The Hague? Okay. Lulu says, so what if Trump is going? So what is Trump is going to do with Maduro since they capture him? Okay, let's see. And I said, fuck all neocons. And it's like a Trump Bush Jr., somebody AI that. Sabby Sabs, had this to say. She says, this has nothing to do with drugs. Trump is overthrowing Maduro to install a leader that allows the U.S. to take their oil and build an alliance with Israel. And, because she's quoting from what Attorney General Pam Bimbo has to say. Nichols Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, have indicated in the Southern District has been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Nichols Maduro has been charged with narco-terrorism, conspiracy, cocaine, importation, conspiracy, possession, machine guns, destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess, destructive devices against the United States. They will soon face full wrath of the American justice on American soil in American courts. On behalf of the entire U.S. Department of Injustice, I would like to thank President Trump for having the courage to demand accountability on behalf of the American people. And a huge thank you to our president, our brave military, to conduct the incredible and highly successful mission to capture the two alleged international narco traffickers. Really, you know how silly that sounds from Pam Bimbo to say that, because I mean, saying that's like saying Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction in 2003. That's what it's like saying, So Max Blumenthal said Venezuela's capital is now under attack by the U.S. regime. No authorization from Congress, no popular American support, just another terrorist war for oil, plunder, and imperial control initiated with shock and awe. Aaron Matei, also Gray Zone co-host. The Venezuelan government did nothing to the United States except try to govern its country and valuable oil reserves outside of U.S. control. That's what it got. That's what That's what it got its mark for, the regime change under Bush 2. After 2 decades of economic warfare and political destabilization, Trump sent in U.S. troops and warplanes to finish the job. He's right. The Amazing Atheist that you just saw earlier says, and this is his quote, "We went to Venezuela and straight up kidnapped their leader. I like to see another country tie that on us. No, seriously, please." Nico House says, Trump just started a war with Venezuela without a single declaration from Congress, and Congress, including Democrats, are about to let him get away with it with absolutely zero consequences. This is the one party in the U.S., the party of war. Bernie Girl No More says, she says, this is against the Constitution. So this is some of the various people on Twitter giving their takes on that. So anyway, I just wanted to go and share my thoughts on this. And you know me, I'm always the anti-imperialist, and I just think it's wrong what we did, and just and then when you got John Bolton, kind of nodding in approval, is wrong, is immoral when he's nodding in favor. So anyway, I'm gonna grab me a bite to eat, and I'll talk to y'all soon. I'll make a quick announcement. I'll probably have a show prepped up on Monday. Don't know what I'll be talking about yet, but at Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will have Angie Moon on the show. We're going to review. We're going to do the 2025, the year review, and we'll also, and that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. And I'm going to have some other guests soon. Dwight Welsh is going to come back on the show. He's writing a book, his first book. And then we're going to go and have other guests back on the show. Warren and Lainey from The Undercurrent are going to be here pretty soon. I got to go and work out the logistics with them. I got to talk to Jamar Jabari, have him back on the show because he wants to come back on the show. And I told him he always has an open invitation to come back. So we're going to have guests back very soon, folks, on a regular basis, rotating around. Yay. So anyhow, I'll let you all go, and I will say this. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the content on this channel. That's the First Amendment absolute. This is my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Reject corporate media, of course, and subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show. Help build this channel because it's not just about me. It's about community. We're all part of the Willie Bragg Show. Just want to let y'all know that. And I appreciate your support. I really do. I enjoy talking to y'all. I mean, I consider y'all my friends. I really do. And remember, free and pardon. Well, actually, let's. I still care about Ed Snowden, but free Nichols Madruro. Seriously, he shouldn't be prisoner. Free Palestine. Free healthcare for all. And keep our First Amendment free. Preserve that First Amendment. And until next time, fuck all the neocons. Every last goddamn one of them. Y'all take care. And, Miguel, how are you doing? Y'all take care, everyone. I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.